I'm here. I'm back. About a year later, I'm back in my bathtub. I've been in my bathtub since I just haven't filmed the video. As I've taken a bath quite a few times since then, but I took some time off. Of course, some more stuff happened to me, and I needed some time off. I needed some time to myself to just focus on my health and figuring out what the heck was going on with me. And now that I have, and it's been a year, and we figured things out, and I'm feeling a lot better. I figured it was time to get back to my normal stuff, my normal hobbies, which would include making videos for you guys. And so yeah, I'm here to talk to you guys about what's been going on. The new situation that I find myself in. I made quite a few notes so I wouldn't forget. One of the things, before I used to have really not the best memory, and now it's even worse since I was diagnosed with this new thing. So bear with me with the notes and the pauses and things like that. I'll try to edit it out as smoothly as I can, so it's not like super dragging on or whatever. Okay, so here's the deal. Now I've been diagnosed, I have depression and anxiety. That's something that I've had ever since I was a little girl. And then on top of that, I don't know if you guys remember, but last time I made a video, I was like, well, guys, I'm gonna get off of all of my medications because I'm gonna try to see if I can get pregnant or not. And, I'm trying to see what's going on. So I decided to get off of all my medications, and I was nearly off of all of them around December, January time. It was like about to be the holidays, or it was about to be New Year's or something like that. And all of a sudden, I start having to get up in the middle of the night several times to go to the bathroom. And so, of course, I'm just like, I've got a UTI. Of course, okay, let me just stop my story and do a side note and be like, this story might have quite a few TMIs, so just letting you know that. But I think it's important to share all of the TMIs because it's like, I had no idea this situation even existed. Like, I had no idea what the heck I was diagnosed with. Like, I hadn't even heard of it in my life. So I want to make sure I share everything all my symptoms, so that if somebody else out there has these symptoms, they're like, oh, well, maybe it's this, I should go to the doctor and get it checked out. So I had frequent urination, and I was getting up to pee several times a night, and it was just like affecting my sleep. And so, of course, I'm just like, well, I have to get antibiotics. And so I go online and I email my doctor. I'm like, I've had UTIs before. I think, it feels the same. So he prescribed me antibiotics. I was like, fine, I'll take it. Swell, perfect. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting towards the end of my antibiotics, like the time that I was supposed to be on them. on them and things were not improving. So I'm like, oh, what is this? Is it a yeast infection? Like, I don't know what else it could be, because, you know, I wasn't having discharge and I wasn't having anything that didn't smell the way it was supposed to. So I'm just like, it has to be a yeast infection, or maybe like the antibiotics they gave me, like they weren't good enough, or I need something else. So I go in and they check me for everything, and they do all the tests, like the pee test and stuff like that. So it comes back and there's like no bacteria anywhere or anything like that, and they send a culture out, and that comes back normal as well. And since it was still like a day before I was officially done with my antibiotics, the doctor was just like, well, just finish it off. You know, maybe that's what it is, that you haven't finished it yet. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And so I finished it off, nothing cleared up. At this point, another TMI trigger. At this point, my vagina was itchy, and my butthole was itchy, which can happen sometimes when you have a yeast infection, and if you're wiping like girls are supposed to wipe from front to back, you can get some of that yeast in your butthole. And it has, like, it's happened to me before, like it's gotten itchy. So I'm like, you know, obviously something is still going on. So I go back to the doctor, and they're like, yeah, you seem to have some bacteria or something. And so I'm gonna give you more antibiotics. You know, sorry we didn't catch it, blah, blah, blah. I go home with the antibiotics and I start taking them. And 5 days into the antibiotics, I start getting really itchy, and the inside of my, like underneath my tongue is really itchy, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And so I get my phone and I call the doctor. It was like 3 in the morning. And I'm like, hey, something's going on. I think I'm allergic to this medicine. And he's like, you know, I'm going to prescribe you some prednisone, and I'm going to prescribe you, I forgot what else he prescribed me. He prescribed me some prednisone, and I think he told me to take some like allergy medicine because of my allergic reaction. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And at that point, I was just like, I don't know if I want to take more medicine. Like, I'm just going to leave it alone and see what happens, because my allergic reaction wasn't necessarily that bad, like visibly at that point. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I'm going to discontinue the antibiotics like the doctor said, and it's going to be fine. And so a couple more hours go by, and I end up being able to fall asleep. And then when I wake back up, I have like hives everywhere, and they're like really, really itchy, and I'm just like, something is up. And so we go to urgent care, and they're like, yeah, you're having an allergic reaction to the antibiotics that you were taking, and that's the ones I was taking at the time, I think they were called Keflex. So now I'm officially allergic to Keflex. And they were just like, okay, let's run all the tests. Like, you're having all of these symptoms still, and you can't figure out what it is. And so they did all of the tests. And when I say all of the tests, I mean all of the tests. Blood work, like everything. And it comes back completely fine. My blood count's completely fine. No bacteria, no yeast, no nothing. And so at that point, I'm just like, well, what the heck am I supposed to do? And so the doctor at that point is just like, you know, from some of the symptoms you're presenting, I would recommend you go get an ultrasound of like your lower abdomen, because at that point, not only was I peeing all the time, I had an itchy vagina, itchy butthole, but I also had stabbing sensations in like the lower half of my stomach, like my lower abs. So it was like painful. It wasn't like super painful, but it was just like, I don't know how to explain it. And then I was also like, I was having like little pin needles in my, feeling like little needle pricks, like randomly throughout my body. And I was itchy everywhere. It felt like I had little bugs crawling all around me, all over me. And no, I don't do drugs. So it wasn't drugs. It was a lot of really weird sensations, and I was just like, I have no idea what this is. So they scheduled an ultrasound for me, went in, everything was fine. Told me, go to the OBGYN. So there I go to the OBGYN. Everything's fine. You should go to the bladder specialist. There I go to the bladder specialist. Have to be on a waiting list for a couple of months for this fool because he is very busy. That is not why he is a fool. He is a fool because he was very rude to me. He was very mean to me. He made me cry, not at the appointment, but once I got back into the car with my husband, I was like, is it just me or was he rude? Like am I over exaggerating this or what? Because I was also about to be on my period at that point, and I was like, I don't know. But he was like, no, yeah, he was definitely rude. He was just kind of abrasive a little bit. I don't know. He just wasn't the kindest. And so at that point, he's like, you know, I think with everything that you've explained to me, I think you have something called fibromyalgia. And I'd never heard of this thing before in my life, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. You're rude. Like, I just want to get out of here. Like, I don't want to sit here one more second. And he ran some tests, and he's like, we'll let you know what comes of this. So on my way home after seeing him, of course, I was crying the whole way. And I was like, not only is it because he was rude to me, and not only is it because I'm about to be on my period, but also I had so much hope of figuring out finally what was wrong with me at that point, that it was heartbreaking to not get an answer. I thought for sure, you know, they're gonna run a test and it's gonna be like, oh yes, this is what it is. This tested positive, or this tested blah, 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 and this is what you've got. And we're gonna move forward in this, and this way. But that was not the case, and so I was very upset about the whole situation. Because, I mean, this is not the first time that I've been battling with something that there's no test for. So it's extremely, extremely disappointing to not have something that you can pin it on with like some sort of a test, some sort of evidence, some sort of a fact, I don't know. It's hard. So if you've ever been through that, you know how difficult it can be on you, like emotionally. So that happened, and then all of the tests came back completely normal, of course. I didn't hear anything from that doctor or his nurses, of course, because he's a piece of caca. So I had to go back to the beginning. I was like, well, I'm gonna go see my regular doctor and tell him every single thing, every single symptom. Like, I don't care how annoying I am. I'm just gonna go. So I go and I have like all of this, like all of these notes. It was a lot of symptoms that I was experiencing at that time. I was having fatigue. I wasn't really able to do much every single day. I was like sleeping all day and all night. And I was just able to get a few things done here and there. And, you know, luckily I was still able to take care of my puppies. That's like always what's most important to me. And yeah, so, what happened next? I need to look at my notes. Okay. So after I go back to my regular doctor, he's like, okay, I'm going to send you back to OBGYN. I'm going to send you to what's it called? Physical, gosh darn it, my brain, rehab, what is it called? Oh my God. The other day, 2 days ago, I blanked on the word desk. I forgot the word desk. That is part of the fibromyalgia, guys. So anyway, physical therapy. There you freaking go. Physical therapy. Sorry, I'm sweating. I like my baths really hot, so, because I'm a girl, and that's what we do. So anyway, so he sends me to physical therapy. I forgot it again. Oh my gosh. So I go to physical therapy. He sends me to rheumatology, and he sends me to gastroenterology. Because of course I'm having like bladder issues, or no, I'm having pooping issues too. Like with certain foods, like it's like a very speedy visit to the restroom, and a painful one. So and my knees were hurting, and it's just like my joints were all hurting. I was having lots of muscle pain and joint pain, and all of a sudden sometimes it feels like I'm gonna come down with like the flu or something. Like if I push myself past a certain limit, my body's like, ugh, why are you pushing me? Like I don't have it in me to do this. So suddenly I'll feel like I'm coming down with the flu, and then I'll get in bed and I'll rest, and the next day I'm completely fine. So there's that. And so all in all, I went to the doctor for a total of 23 total doctor's visits in 2024 to try to get to the bottom of this. That was very fun. Not really. Very stressful, very emotionally not good for me. So yeah. Okay. Okay, so I go to the rheumatologist and I tell her everything that's going on with me, and she's like, you know what, I think you're having just like a mild case of fibromyalgia, and but I need to see you in person. So I go in, and she's like, you know, I think what we're dealing with here is something called vulvodynia in a mild case of fibromyalgia. And you know, so she was very nice to me. She was very sweet, very kind. And we just basically got to talking about, you know, I was like, well, you know, all in all, I feel very lucky because I've been on some of these forums for fibromyalgia, and some of these people have it a lot worse than me, even though what I'm going through is pretty shitty too. And she's like, yeah, a lot of women come in here and they're like, I don't know how I can continue. Like, I'm so miserable every single day. The pain is so severe every single day. It's devastating. So I was like, you know, all in all, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, you know, moving on, moving forward. And so I started taking gabapentin, which is like a nerve blocker or something like that, and so you can't really feel as much pain or as much discomfort. That's really working very well for me. So technically, what I experience, because everybody experiences something different, I have some sort of discomfort or some sort of pain every single day. It's random, and it's like, today it's gonna be your knees, or today it's gonna be your hands that are hurting, or today it's gonna be your butthole that's very itchy. And if I don't know if you would believe how intense the itchiness can be, like without medication. Like, it's so intense. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just it's not good. So I have some sort of something going on. I was actually really scared to do a lot of like deep diving at first, and my husband was like, you know, I'll look into it for you. At first we were a little bit afraid that it could be MS. So I told him, you know, I'm scared. I don't want to look into it by myself. Like, will you look into it and tell me if it's a possibility that I have it or not? And he was like, well, for it to be MS, you would have to have like, you would have to not be able to see from time to time, or like your eye have a little bit of a droopy eye or something. And it's a little bit confusing because there are a lot of symptoms that are kind of similar, like in the same vein, in the same area. So that's why I was a little bit afraid. I mean, my rheumatologist did say that I do have some neurological symptoms that she does want to like keep an eye on. But she doesn't think that that's what it is at this point. Which is terrifying. My husband did see that apparently whatever you have when you're diagnosed with fibromyalgia, like the symptoms or whatever, like the severity, it usually doesn't progress. Like, it's not a progressive disease or something like that. I have had some new symptoms kind of show up here and there, about about 6 months into the whole situation, there were like 2 weeks where every couple of days I would start getting like a new random symptom. Like there was this one time where I felt a water droplet on my leg, but there's like no way, like I was not close to any water at all. So that was one of the neurological symptoms that my doctor did want to keep an eye on. But overall, with the gabapentin, I haven't really felt that again. You know, I did read a little bit on the forums of people that were like, oh my gosh, I can't walk too much, or if I push myself too much, I need someone to carry me. I need a wheelchair. I need a cane, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, that sucks. But of course, around the 1 year mark, so just a couple weeks ago, I pushed myself too hard while I was at my parents' house. You know, I was like organizing things and like putting things away and just like, and then I don't know, I was just doing too much at that point. And the day before we were due to come back home, it was really, really difficult for me to walk around. And I was like, well, I see what they're talking about now. I see what they're saying, that they need some sort of assistance. So I did actually end up ordering a cane, just in case it happens again and I need to get somewhere. I mean, it's difficult. I can say it's hard to walk. It's like, it feels like you're a nutcracker. Like you cannot bend your knees, or it's just like you feel super, super stiff, or at least I did. That's how I felt. So it's hard. For me, it's worse around my ovulation or my period. Sometimes I'll feel pain in my armpit, and that really scared me. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I have breast cancer now. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of a little bit of a hypochondriac, so whenever something new comes along, I'm just like, I'm gonna die. But, you know, luckily, so far that has not been the case. I need to stay hydrated. My rheumatologist did say she noticed a lot of her patients saying that when they are dehydrated, their symptoms are a lot worse. So I have to stay hydrated, or else my symptoms, they get pretty bad. They get pretty intense, even with my medication. I need to do a daily walk, you know, something easy on my joints, but still like get some sort of daily motion going on. Because if not, then I do get like stiffer joints. I need to take a lot of breaks. Like if my body's like, if I start to get achy somewhere, it's like a sign for me to like sit down, take a break until I feel better, and then I can go ahead and continue. And that's a little bit annoying to me, because I was depressed for so long and I was in bed for so long that I'm finally like, oh, I have some energy, like let's tackle it all. And now it's like I still need to take lots of breaks now, because if not, my body's like, no, it's not happening. We're gonna have to take a nap or something, or we're gonna have to be in bed for the rest of the day because you didn't listen and because you didn't take a break. I get like a weird belly button pain. It almost feels like my belly button is stretching, or like there's some sort of a nerve in there that's like stretching to the max. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. It's just a very weird sensation like around my belly button. I will have like sort of like aches and pains, or like I will touch myself somewhere, or my dogs will walk on me sometimes, and I'll be like, oh, that really hurt. And so I'll look down expecting to see a bruise or something, and there's nothing there. And so then that's really common too. Or I'll be really itchy somewhere and I'll look down and expect to see a rash, and there's nothing there. It's totally normal. I did have an appointment with a gastroenterologist, and he was like, "Well, you know, you have fibromyalgia and you have vulvodynia, and those are all kind of things that go hand in hand." And I think what you're talking to me about with some of the bathroom visits that you have is IBS. So you have to be careful with what you eat, or if you want to eat something, you know, it's fine, but you know, you're going to have to pay the price, basically. And so I was like, okay, that's, you know, good advice, I guess. There's like not much you can do about it. And he was very nice to me as well. He actually was like, before we hung up, we were the video call, he was like, oh, do you mind if I pray for you? And he prayed for me, and it was so nice after having such a bad experience with the bladder guy. And I cried about about that guy too, because I was like, wow, what a difference. Like, yeah, he was just very kind. So I cried because he was nice to me. So yeah, so that's what I went through all last year. You know, I was just finding ways to cope with everything. Once I had the official diagnosis, I was I don't know, just trying to learn how to deal with it all. Taking care of puppies and taking care of a house, and I'm just really lucky that I have a husband who doesn't mind that I want to be a stay-at-home dog mom, and I can focus on all of these things. I know a lot of people, they have all of this stuff going on with them, and they don't have the luxury of being able to stay at home and take care of themselves. So I think that I'm very lucky, and I'm glad I've been able to kind of take the time to take really good care of myself. But yeah, so that's the reason that I was gone for yet another year. I did want to put that out there. I did want to put all of the TMIs out there, because if someone else is going through it and it's like that one symptom that they didn't think about, and they're like, oh, I have to go talk to my doctor and list it out too, to get a diagnosis, because it's hard. It's hard to get a diagnosis because there's no tests. So, you know, if you're dealing with this, I'm very sorry. Try to take really good care of yourself. Try to take baths. Try to relax as much as you can. Try to drink as much water as you can. Yeah. So thank you for coming back and watching this. And oh yeah, one more thing. Somebody that I trust is going to be looking at the comments and reading them back to me, the good ones, or the questions. So I personally won't be looking at any of the comments, because I have not been on social media at all, and actually I feel really good mentally, so I'm just gonna go ahead and continue to not be on social media, unless, you know, I'm posting something, but I'm not gonna be looking at the comments afterwards. So somebody I trust will be looking at them for me, reading them back to me. I will be answering questions in that way. So thank you. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. I do have a new schedule, so I will be posting regularly on my YouTube. I don't know when I'm going to be returning to Instagram as of yet, but I do have some plans, and I am excited to return at some point. But again, there I will also not be looking at any comments or any messages myself, but it will get to me at some point or another. So thank you very, very much, and I love you guys very, very much, and thank you for being so patient with me and so lovely with me. Thank you. Love you.